I'm David Arfa. I am the dad to Zachary Arfa, who's been part of Hilltown Youth Theater since he was in 9th grade, and he's now beginning a sophomore in college. And he began as Bilbo Baggins when there was a production at Mohawk, actually, and Jonathan came to Mohawk and brought all the great double-edge theater energy with him, of meaning they made giant puppets. I remember Zach coming home, there's this guy from New York who can make these giant puppets, and all you need to do is get a backpack and you build it all on, and how to do that, which is very exciting. And they worked with silks and climbing, and Zach loved it. He was very much afraid of heights, and there was one scene where he had to fall off the stage and be caught by it, but he couldn't do it. He didn't want to do it. It's pretty scary for him to do it. And they worked and they worked and they worked until finally Jonathan said, all right, today's the day. They had already built a lot of trust, and he said, okay, no one's going home till Zach falls from the stage. And it was a trust fall, so I think he had to actually fall backwards into people's arms, and it took him a while, but after a big gulp and a big breath, he actually did it. And he was so just energized and proud of himself and excited by that experience. That was a real highlight. I mean, the whole creating The Hobbit was wonderful, working with artists, working with the whole community, bringing it together. But that moment of risk-taking and seeing that he survived, and like, oh, you didn't have to be a prisoner to his fears. There were supportive ways to actually grow in that moment. I think he was hooked. And so he just began participating in the summers, and came back as staff. He's someone who loves music, and
About his role as a music director.
So his role as a music director was, he's loved that so much. And there's something about this, just the creative environment and the full freedom to bring what he loves. And working with Franklin, another who loved music as much as Zach. And together they could just plan ideas, they could just do a lot of playing, and they could share their love of music with the whole camp. And working with kids, of learning songs, of learning instruments, and it's been great. It's been great for him. It's been really empowering of just being able to do what he loves and have this environment to do it in. This past year, one thing that they just tried, I think it might have been raining, so they needed a different idea. And so Zach and Franklin said, let's just teach people how to play instruments, one they've never played before. And it was like, what? You know, this whole thing of, and then they just pulled out trombones and drums and the piano, and they set people up saying, it's all right, you've never played before. It's easy. You don't have to, like, it's not, you're not born being a musician. Music's for everybody. And here we just start and we can learn something. And they all learned. It was like the empowering moment of using that sense. Again, I guess there's a sense of doing something that felt scary, felt out of the ordinary, but having such a supportive environment and people just loving it and seeing that, being able to get the direct feedback right afterwards. I mean, it's been so important for Zach. He actually changed his major from music to psychology. And very interested in the mind-body connection. And particularly, I think that's grown because in the winter, he began working with the recovery camp. And thinking again about how community can support people, everybody, including himself, and building esteem. Jonathan has a line that really made a mark on Zachary, you know, that we're all I forget how it is exactly, but we're all at different stages of recovery. There's some like we all help each other. We all bring what we can, and we're all learning in different areas, and we all have strengths in different areas, and we just bring ourselves together and do it. And that's something that Zach has really took to heart in a beautiful way, and so much so that he's now looking at how to as his major, and how to grow and what kind of work he can do with what does that look like. Learning about the mind-body connection, learning about dance as well. He found Contact Improv at college, which is how to describe it. It's a non-musical dance sense about just really connecting with our bodies and being able to finding ways that we're making contact with each other physically, and using that, and also carrying people, and learning how to do it all safely and effortlessly, and using our body to support each other. And he was able to bring some of those activities to the camp, because these warm-ups that they do at Hilltown Youth being really amazing. And Zach, both the Follow the Leader, where it's just like opening up with our bodies. I went once with a parent day, got to do it myself, and it was just really fun. It was just really fun, and it's just really simple of just moving with other people, getting our blood flowing, and they might doing things I wouldn't normally do. Not only running and shaking and hopping, but also balancing and being lifted up, and it's been great.
What would you say some qualities of Zach you've seen, maybe directly related from his experience at the Hilltown? Like ways you've seen him change or grow?
I mean, I think it's provided this environment for just building this strong, it's supported his own comfortableness of being himself and being unique and being someone who just values who he is. And I see Hilltown Youth being a program that just supports that. And I think that's a fundamental value and a quality of the whole camp. It seems like for the recovery program, similarly, of just creating this space for people to be who they are, all their feelings, all their sensibilities about what they're seeing and what's going on around them, be able to name it, to be able to be okay wherever they're at, and to be encouraged with all different kinds of activities that maybe both bring people together, like through this contact work, follow the leader work, and also of taking risks with music playing, also with the trapeze, and having this incredibly terrifying piece of equipment right on the camp, on the campus there, and making that available. And that's something I've seen. So Zach, remember I said, he didn't even want to fall off the stage in a trust fall at the beginning, and going to last year, like just having to work up the courage just to do the trapeze once, and then this year to be going on, not only going on his knees back and forth, but then trusting enough to be caught by another person and swinging on out. Like, what? That's remarkable. That's remarkable, and it's this real experience of knowing that I can acknowledge that I'm afraid, and I can also still do and get beyond it, and it'll be all right. It'll be all right. And he's excited to do more, Trapeze next year.
It's going to be coming back to the Hilltown.
He hopes to. May it all go well. Absolutely. Absolutely. And partly because it's a youth theater. So as the music director, he's not only doing the music, but he gets to be part of thinking about the administration of it, of how do these things run, how to get a program implemented and thriving as much, like what are the steps needed, and thinking about that with others. So they met on Mondays and did their own fundraising videos that they put out on the web, and he's excited by that challenge of thinking about how to really grow into this, and what does it mean to run a community youth theater program, and learn that. So he sees that it's not only really fun, and it really builds community, and it changes people's lives, or just the excitement of being there, but then he also sees like, oh, as he gets older, there's a whole administration to how to make this happen. He brings his friends from Oberlin who are doing theater in other contexts, in Boston and other places, and it was so positive for him, because it's like, oh, this is incredible. This is unique, what's happening here. It kind of reinforces the specialness of right here in our own community, and this things that what this is. It's not just any kind of formal youth theater. It has this alternative edge that's just dedicated to empowering kids. And it seems to deliver.
Yeah, it's super special.
Super special. Mm-hmm.